Hello, students of Russian language. I will explain here a few points in Russian spelling. And very interesting lecture, a few points. We see here 5 numbers. So number 1, 2, and 3 will belong to 1 point. When you look on the top of the slide, number 1, we see 2 verbs. Also, later I will put all translation down there in comments into English. So, number 1, вырастет, вырастет. So we pronounce it absolutely the same way because the stress falls on the first syllable, and we cannot hear that in the end there is I or Е. Вырастет, вырастет. So actually, the red color вырастет is second conjugation, they call it, and the blue color вырастет, they call it first conjugation. I never remember any conjugations in any languages which I study because I think this is very boring, and to remember that I go by different things what are not boring for me. Like associations with other words or something funny, images, imaging. I don't go by numbers of conjugations. Of course, endings you have to know sometimes, But here, for example, for Russian people, for themselves, it's difficult to... I was writing a story and I had the verb and I thought, wow, this is like confusing spelling. So I got into it, and this is how this lecture appeared. Yes, so blue color вырастет in the yellow frame, number 2. 2 examples there. The verb is расти, вырастать. To grow is imperfective form. To grow like continuous imperfective form расти. И вырастать, because it has prefix вы. And with the prefix it becomes perfective form. Вырастать, it's like completed action. It's in English language will be like perfective, perfect tenses, for example. In Russian language we do not have categories perfect tenses or continuous tenses. We do not have that absolutely. We have only 4 tenses, 4 verb tenses. However, we have many of prefixes, very developed prefixes, the same as in the German language. If you don't know them, you don't know many meanings. So here the prefix is вы, and these prefixes we will see in the blue color and in the red color in the both verbs. We will see that it is completeness. It means completeness. Also, I always go by logics, and logics is very easy to understand always and remember. So actually these two verbs, they are relatives. So the blue color is расти, вырастать, to grow, and complete action. To grow, about a child, about children, people. And the second red color, растить, is to grow the flower. Actually, they are interconnected. We can we can apply to both flower and children. But this is the way it is. If you look at blue color, infinitives расти, вырастать, and you look at red color растить, выращивать. Well, they are different, of course, but the difference between the first one, imperfective расти, растить, is in the ending т in the red color, растить. In this case will be the flower, to grow the flower, выращивать, to water it, to rid of weeds. This will be растить, выращивать. Like I said, they are logically very connected, and we can, with a change of context, we can. But however, this is the correct spelling here right now. Is demonstrated. And in number 2, вырастет, the examples are: он вырастет скоро и уйдет из семьи. Он, he will grow up soon and he will leave the family. Go to college or so on and so forth, or get married. Он, I say он, he, actually ребенок, maybe a girl and a boy, but ребенок, then we go by genders if we, go девочка, мальчик, but ребенок may be any gender. However, oftentimes when we use grammatical masculine, we may think about masculine as well. As он вырастет скоро, maybe it's a boy, он вырастет скоро и уйдет из семьи. I'm in the yellow frame now, in number 2. And the second example here: ребенок вырастет трудным, если плохо воспитывать. Another example: the child will grow a difficult one. It will be, difficult for the parents to deal with this child. Ребенок вырастет трудным. Каким? This is instrumental case here. Трудный actually is adjective, right? It's adjective. It will grow up. What way? What way we have here instrumental case? Каким? Ребенок вырастет трудным. The child will grow hard to deal with. Если плохо воспитывать. If to, how to say, we have the verb воспитывать, to upbring, to raise the child is воспитывать. Если плохо воспитывать, if you don't put enough time into upbringing of the child, in Russian we just say плохо воспитывать, badly raise the child. This is how we say. The mechanics of the languages is so different. So when you start explaining, it's like really takes a linguist who understands all the parts of speech and how they hook together to explain it eventually. And still it is difficult. Okay, so I will repeat number 2 in the yellow frame, 2 examples for the verb вырастет. One more time, red and blue, they pronounce the same way. However, we see they spelled differently in the ending. Вырастет. Вырастет. And why they pronounced the same way? Because non-stressed I or ye, and they pronounced the same. Вырастет. If ye not stressed, I don't say вырастет. Вырастет. Like it goes natural, without stress, right? That's why the confusion between how to spell I or ye in the end, because it's non-stressed syllable. So one more time, these 2 examples. Он вырастет скоро и уйдет из семьи. He will grow up soon and he will leave the family. Уйдет из семьи. In point number 5, I will be explaining why we, not why, but that letter yo, we never put double dot in German language. We call it umlaut. Double dot in Russian, we don't call it umlaut, but I call it umlaut because I studied German too. Yes, ребенок also will be in point number 5 here. Ребенок вырастет трудным, если плохо воспитывать. So the child will grow up difficult to deal with if we badly, don't pay attention while upraising that child. And in the point number 3, we have red color verb, which is also on the very top of the slide, which says второе спряжение, the second conjugation, вырастет, the same pronunciation. We are looking at number 3 now in the red frame, and infinitive растить, выращивать, to grow, imperfective form and perfective form, выращивать. Мама вырастет этот цветок для меня. Mother will grow this plant, this flower for me. Цветок is a flower. Цвет. If I remove ок in the end of the word цветок, flower, I will have very different word. Цвет. Цвет is color in Russian. Цветок is a flower. So this example is мама вырастет этот цветок для меня, and we spell it with и, ending it. Вырастет. Мама вырастет этот цветок для меня. Mother will grow this flower for me. I will repeat here that Russians will also have doubt how to spell it. The more educated person, the better they are. But still, we, of course, now because of internet, we have abundance of sources and good sources to quickly to go and to get the reference. Let's go to point number 4, and this is very different point. And this is about how difficult especially for students of Russian, sometimes to see the same letter when it's written in cursive or in italics, how we call in computer writing and the keyboard of computer. And so the first here in number 4, I am in the pink double frame right now, number 4. We see on the extreme left cursive or italics, V, the first letter V, the second letter T, 2 blue color letters V and T, and look at them in the printed, easier to detect them in printed. And examples for V, вы, these are 2 personal pronouns, вы, you, plural. If it is singular, oftentimes it's respectful and with capital letter, capitalized. The same rules will be in German and in French. In many languages will be the same thing as in we Russians use it. And the second will be T, letter T. As you see, it's spelled in italics. It looks like English letter M. Actually, it's cursive Russian T. We spell like that. And the personal pronoun is T. For example, T. So you could recognize that letter. V and T, these 2 letters. And the third letter is D. And the examples are the word, a noun друг. Друг is a friend. Друг. And you see it looks weird for people who are not, for non-Russians who are not get used to all shapes of these letters. The same as when I study Arabic, the same, when the letter is in the middle of the word or in the beginning in the end, they change their shape. So the same we have feature in Russian, but Russian is easier than Arabic because we write from left to right. We are writing from left side to right side as all, European languages do. And we have separate letters very easily pronounced. And I don't know, it's maybe for Arabic people, probably Arabic is easier. And for non-Russian students, Russian is difficult. Okay, so you see here, друг, look at it. Also, I just wanted to mention my memory, probably I'm not an exception. Many people's memory works like very photographic memory. You see it, and then you remember. I remember letters like pictures oftentimes, right? And if I don't see very well, like in the darkness when I drive, but I see how long is the word, like the name of the street, for example, how short it is, and the shapes of letters. That's how I recognize. Maybe some other people do the same. So look at it. Друг looks very different, the first letter and the last letter. Actually, G, I'm not showing here, but the end of the word друг, 4 letters, a friend, very good word, друг. Also, G looks very different in printed version and in italics version. And point number 5, also very interesting point. I still have in writing a book from quite a few years ago. I started it, and I already collected a very big vocabulary there to demonstrate letter yo. Yo is the same as letter ye. We write it the same as letter ye, but with two dots on the top, two horizontal dots on the top. In green color, we see these dots, and I will remind you many times. I remind always to students of Russian that in Russian culture we do not put these two dots in the books. Majority of times it is not there. We just know when I look at this verb уйдет, he will leave. Уйдет. It's not possible for me to pronounce it уйдет, because уйдет doesn't make sense. It's not correct. It's just different letter. But we just know that. We know very well the difference between ye and yo. But for student is difficult. For example, my student of 10 years, private student of Russian of 10 years, more than 10 years, and he has very developed vocabulary. And majority, when we read everything. We read classics and Soviet literature and all kinds of literature, and his vocabulary is very big in reading. And many times he knows, for example, like here you see уйдет, how to pronounce it, or ребенок. If I say ребенок, it doesn't make sense. It sounds ugly. It's completely two different letters, ye and yo. Okay, so ребенок in green color also I show here two dots. Remember this name. I have a separate lecture on ребенок, дети. Дети is plural irregular form, same as in English child and children. In Russian ребенок и дети are completely different words. Okay, so this was point number 5 about letter yo, which is with two dots, ye with two dots on the top, pronounced yo. And we have a big vocabulary on that letter, and sometimes derivatives of the same family of meaning, the same meaning, we call family derivatives. In one case they will have ye, and in another case they will have yo, or for example plural and singular difference. So we just have to study vocabulary like that as we go. When I teach English, I always say we study as we go. And right now I teach in English phrasal verbs, and the same thing. I tell them as we go, little by little, we remember things. We don't take tables, charts, and don't study them by heart. Like this little lecture here and there, and we learn more and more. Any language is a big, very, very big deal, very big thing. You have to study it many years. Okay, and I will quickly repeat all 5 points here. And the first 3 points, 1, 2, and 3, was about two different verbs, which in third person singular here, вырастет и вырастет. Both of them future, by the way, future tense, вырастет. Будущее, future. They pronounced the same way. We call this type of words in all languages homophones, because they pronounce the same way, but they spelled differently. Homophones, phono pronunciation. They have different meanings. They are interconnected in semantics, in meaning, but still they are different two verbs. And the blue color verb number 2, расти, вырастать, to grow about the person, to grow up about the person. And the example is: он вырастет скоро и уйдет из семьи. He will grow up soon, and he will leave the family, will live separately, meaning. And the second example in number 2 is: ребенок вырастет трудным, если плохо воспитывать. The child will grow up difficult to deal with if parents will be paying not enough attention. In Russian we say плохо воспитывать, badly bring up badly, плохо is adverb, badly, плохо. And number 3 point in the red frame. Растить, выращивать. Infinitive is растить, выращивать, to grow like a flower, a plant. Выращивать, especially выращивать, perfective form, especially about the plants. Выращивать. However, like I say, they can be, depending on context, they may, the first one with child and with a plant, they may interchange too, depending on context. But in this context, is everything correct here? So remember this, what I'm explaining. So in number 3, the example is «Мама вырастет этот цветок для меня». Мама вырастет этот цветок для меня. Mother will grow this flower for me. And the point number 4, we have here the recognition of italics and the printed version of the letter. And here actually 4 letters. I show 3 letters in vertical manner, but actually there are four letters. If we look at the example of black color, druk, we see letter number 4, which is also looks different. So the letters are V, all of them consonants. V, T, V, example is вы, you, plural, second person, personal pronoun, plural, вы. If I capitalize it, it will be polite, вы, for a one person, singular, second person. And look how different it looks, a little bit different in italics. And T looks very different, completely in italics. Example T, the second letter T. U, informal. And the next letter is D, looks very different, printed from italics in front, in the extreme left here. We are in the pink double frame now. And the examples for consonant D is druk. Druk is a friend. We do not have articles, thanks God. We do not have articles in Russian language. We don't have to deal with articles, definite and indefinite articles, like in English, the, or in Espanol, el, la. We don't have it in Russian whatsoever, right? What a relief. Sometimes we have relief. Number 5 point is about the fact that we almost never write yo, especially in books, in handwriting we may, but also maybe not, because we just know that vocabulary, but for the student have to understand that уйдет, it is future tense of he will leave, and we need to pronounce yo, even it looks like here, уйдет, and in green color I'm showing 2 dots here. Just remember this too. Уйдет, ребенок, always with yo, ребенок. If you pronounce ye, you will be mistaken. It will be bad pronunciation and even hardly recognizable, especially if you speak with the general accent like I do. I speak with my Russian accent, right? Which has become much more polished. I have been 28 years in the country, you understand. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope that was useful. This is a very original lecture which touches a few points which came to my head just by chance when I was writing my stories. Thank you very much. Good luck to everybody, and I will see you in the next lecture. You will see me, hear me. Thank you. Bye.